As I said at the beginning of Mass, that one of the greatest examples, of course, for us that really point to us and show us what this limitless love or mercy or grace or anything that God gives so generously is our Blessed Mother. And she does it so beautifully, so simply. But I've also found that in its own way, children show this limitless love very easily. And I'm very blessed as a pastor to have a school. And and that's one of the joys of my life is to be a pastor of a school. And every day they bring a smile to my face. They bring joy to my life. And there's this one little boy, Liam. And every day I make a trip to Dunkin' Donuts. Well, probably numerous times a day I make trips to Dunkin' Donuts. But in the afternoon, I was going into Dunkin' Donuts, and Liam, who is in first grade, was in there with his mom. And so I walk in, and, "Hi, Father Rich," and he comes up, gives me a hug. "Hey, Father Rich, and how's your day? How's everything going?" And I was like, "Good. How was your day, Liam?" "It was good. We talked for a little bit," and he's leaving. He's, "Bye, Father Rich. We'll see you tomorrow at school." And then I can't believe this. The guy behind the counter, the waiter, the server, he was like, "You have the nicest son." He goes, "Your son is the cutest." And as I was just ready to correct him, he goes, "Your son is so nice, I'm going to give you a free coffee." And I'm like, you know what? He is a good kid. He's a great kid. Best kid I've ever had. But, and Liam does this. Liam shows me this limitless love all the time. At the last day of school, I was in the office, and I was just waiting for school to end so I could say goodbye to the kids. And he comes running down the stairs. He goes, "There's my church man." And it's amazing. But children have an amazing way of embracing and welcoming the limitless love, mercy, compassion, everything that God offers. And as we get older, I think it's harder. I think it gets harder. That's because our lives get a little bit more complicated. We experience different things. Sometimes our hearts get a little hardened. And so we're not as apt to welcome or embrace that limitless love, mercy, compassion, joy, hope, all the things that God wants to give. So really, I've come to a conclusion that it's because we are either living in fear or we got to live in freedom. It's one or the other. And that's something that I really want you to pray about and think about this weekend. Am I living in fear or am I living in freedom? Because when we allow ourselves to live in fear, then we are crippled. Then you and I are blinded from experiencing and seeing the limitless love, mercy, hope, joy, peace, compassion, all that God gives, all that God wants to overflow in our hearts and in our lives. He wants to be so generous with all of these things, but when we allow fear to enter in, it cripples us. We can't see it. We can't even desire it sometimes. But when we choose to live in freedom, and this freedom means that we embrace what God has in store for us. It means that we embrace the life that God has planned for us. When we choose to live in this freedom, you and I are going to be happy, and we're going to want to experience this limitless love and grace and mercy and hope and joy, everything that God offers. We're going to want this. We're going to desire it. We're going to hope for it, and it's going to be ours. But we have to live in freedom. And by living in freedom, it means that we don't allow sin to control our lives. It means that we embrace all that God has to offer, including the sacraments, Sunday Mass, everything that the church gives us so beautifully and freely and joyfully. It means that you and I come before God in prayer. It means that we allow God to be a part of our life, and we allow that God to be the center of our life. That's living in freedom. And yes, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to have its challenges, but God will overcome all of this with us, and we will overcome this because God is leading us. And that's the joy that you and I have today. That's the hope that we've been given. That's the promise that He has shown us. And our Blessed Mother is an amazing example of that. What awaits us when we allow the fear to be dispelled, the fear just to be removed, and the freedom to come in. It's amazing. Very quickly, I've been sharing this story because it's pretty pertinent to my life. Just a little over a year ago, I was pretty much unconscious in my house. And what had happened is I had had the beginning of a brain aneurysm that had kind of begun to burst. And so I was brought to the hospital, and it had leaked. That's what they called it. And thank God it hadn't burst. I wouldn't be here if it did. And so for the last year, they've been trying to fix this, control it, do whatever they got to do, and they can't. Say, Father, if we put you under surgery, you're going to bleed out, you won't make it. They've put me on medications that, I've been sick to my stomach every morning. So the last year, it's been a huge struggle. It's been a huge struggle. And finally, the doctor looked at me one day and I was sick, I was exhausted. And he goes, do you want to just get off the meds and we'll just hope for the best and basically give up? And I was like, no, we're going to fight. I think God has a plan. He better. He better have a plan, and I believe in this. And my doctor's a parishioner of mine, and he's like, Father, I agree. He's like, I agree with you. I said, no, we're going to fight. We're going to do this. I don't care what it takes. We're going to do this. And although it's not 100%, it's not even 10% cured, it's better. And you can't give in to the fear. You can't. You can't. And yeah, I've had hard moments. I've had to tell my family, there might be a day I might just not wake up. And that's going to be, and if it is God's will, then let it be. But I'm not going to live in the fear. I'm going to embrace these moments because freedom is a whole lot more joyful. And it shows a whole lot more hope to live for. And there's a lot more peace. And it allows God to enter into my life so beautifully. So I pray that you never have anything as complicated as that. I pray that your life is certainly a lot more simpler than that. But never give into fear. Because you'll never see the limitless love of God if you do. His hope, His joy, His desire for you to live this life with passion and purpose, to embrace the Catholic faith in all of its glory and all of its beauty. The freedom of God awaits you. Choose that. And let our Blessed Mother be the example. That in every moment of her life, even the difficult ones, the sorrowful ones, the confusing ones, she chose the limitless love of God every single time. And she was right. So that's what's in store for you. That's the best part. Is no matter what we tell you this weekend, no matter what we give you for, tools to live your life to help you, when you leave here, it is up to you. It's up to you. Choose the freedom. And in that, God has amazing things ready to give you. And my last plea for you, when you're tempted to remove yourself from Mass, don't. As a priest, every time I celebrate Mass, and I have parishioners that aren't there, it's like sharing a Thanksgiving dinner with half your family. That's no good. When you're not at Mass, we miss you. Man, do we miss you. We need you. And every time you go to Mass, God plants in your heart that limitless love, that peace, that hope, that joy. Why wouldn't you go to Mass? That's my plea as a priest. What we do right now, this is the best part of our day right now. Nothing greater is going to happen today than what we're about to do right now. So make that a part of your life always. And when you're tempted by fear to not go, choose freedom and know that God's waiting for you. God bless you.